Privacy. The traditional banking model achieves a level of privacy by limiting access to information to parties involved and the trusted party. So with banking, the bank is the holder of all info and limits the spread of this info. This is how it maintains privacy, your privacy, and it makes sure that, your privacy is maintained so you don't get ripped off. The necessity to announce all transactions publicly precludes this method, but privacy can still be maintained by breaking the flow of information in another place. So the need to publicly announce all transaction kind of goes against this, but privacy can still be maintained by breaking or obscuring the flow of information. So by keeping public keys anonymous. Mainly the way you do this is by keeping your public key. It's basically like your Bitcoin wallet address and it looks kind of like this. Okay? This thing right here. This is your address, right? And these addresses are anonymous, right? Unless you tell someone, yo, I own this key / address, tracing it back to you is kind of hard. There's no way to like get your private information out of this thing here, this address, this private or public key. So that's kind of how you break the privacy issue here. That's how you fix it in a way. The public can see that someone is sending an amount to someone else, but without the information linking the transaction to anyone else. So everybody can see that this key / public Bitcoin email address is sending some other public key some amount of Bitcoin, but no one really knows who is the owner of this address. So no one really knows that I own this address. Well, once you read this, you'll all know that I own this address. But once you make your own addresses that look like this, there's really no one that knows it's you. This is similar to a level of information released by stock exchanges where the time and size of individual trades, the tape, is made public but without telling who the parties are. It's kind of like how they do it at stock exchanges, alright? They release information about trades, their times and amounts. They just don't release who made them. It's basically like an aggregate. It's like reading a stock chart. You can see the chart, but you can't see the individual traders. So here is a really amazing, actually not amazing, but well, it's amazing, but it's a very useful diagram by Satoshi Nakamoto. So traditional privacy is identity's transaction, and while doing the transaction, the identity in your transaction gets recorded by a third party, and then there's a counterparty risk, and then it's blocked by the public. It's blocked, and then because they act as the counterparty between the public and you. So this is the public, and this is the counterparty, and here is the blocking, right? And in your new privacy model, everybody has an identity. No one knows who the identity is, so you break the chain of links, right? And then transactions, and it's all public. So transactions are not linked to identities. That's what it's saying, okay? Here, identities and transactions are linked, and the third party controls it. Your banking institute and all of those guys. So when you hear lots of people saying, distributed identity, it's an interesting concept because this whole model is identity, whatever is break, and then transaction, and then it's all public. So the public knows the transactions. They just don't know who made them because, again, your whole thing here is it's a public key. And the public key looks like this. And there's no way for anybody to know that that's your public key. Okay, cool. An additional firewall, I love that he uses that term. A new key pair should be used for each transaction to keep them from being linked to a common owner. So we can have one other feature to just create a little bit more privacy. We generate a new key, a new public email address, right, for each and every transaction. This way, it's a little more safer. Some linking is still unavoidable with multi-input transaction, which necessarily reveal that their inputs were owned by the same owner. So linking one key to another is kind of unavoidable, okay? The risk is that if the owner of a key is revealed, the linking could reveal the other transactions that belong to the same owner. So there is risk to this. If one key is revealed, meaning their owner is revealed, all the other keys that are linked to it are also subject to be revealed, right? If the owner of one of the keys is revealed, basically, it can be articulated the other keys also belong to him. So yes, there's a chain, but we try to break the chain. We try to create new keys, and we try to do it in a way to where no one knows the owner. So there. Calculations. My God, this was the hardest thing to do.